Hello and welcome to Men Behind the Curtain, the podcast about everything and nothing all at once. We are back. I'm Pitt.
I'm Eli. I hope y'all have been doing good. Hopefully, the videos I've been putting out has helped to kind of bridge the gap a little bit.
It's
Um,
making me not want to watch some movies or read some books.
well, the one that I did, like with the Aragon movie, no, I enjoy the book. I fucking hate the movie. So,
I've not read nor seen them. I've not read the book nor have I seen the movie. And from my understanding, my oldest daughter has read the book. And for those of you who don't know my oldest daughter, she is very, very critical of anything. Um, and it has to be a specific way. It's like if it's one thing that she wouldn't have done, she doesn't like it. She's like, they should have did this
oh
instead.
wow.
Yeah. Oh well, you've met Doug, so
I mean, and I've talked about this a lot with that particular book series. When you read the book, you can tell he was like 16, 17 when he wrote the first one. You can tell because there's very, very heavy influences, especially Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. He's 16, 17. I can give him a little bit of grace on that. You know, he doesn't have that much experience in anything, really. Um, by the third book, you can see him growing as a writer. But the first two books, even though it's not the most original, uh, geez, that rain is really coming down here. Um, it's not the most original. I still think that it was a good execution. And I always like to say that originality only gives you so many points. My best example for that, and I've talked about this before, a John Cusack movie, The Raven, where he's playing Edgar Allan
yeah.
Poe. For those of y'all who have not seen this, um, there's a serial killer who is reenacting murders from his works, from Poe's works. And initially, the cops think that Poe's the one doing it. They realize he's not. They keep him as a consultant to find the killer. Um, and the movie pretty much ends with Poe's real life death. Now, that's an interesting concept. That's a very original idea. It's a horrible fucking movie.
So I don't know if this is true or not in regards to Aragon, the book series, but it doesn't help or it doesn't hurt when your parents are book publishers. Again, I
That's
don't know if it's
true.
true. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I mean, it's kind of like the
Well,
whole Fifty Shades of Grey bullshit. I mean, I've read better uh, Tumblr blogs. And I and I'll be honest, I was like, what's this book all about? I read like maybe the first 10 pages, and it reads like a fucking blog. It, to me, it was like so all she did was slap all her blogs together and be like, this is what I want done to me.
could
I
be.
mean,
Um,
I have no problem, helping you out with that. But actually, I do. Have you seen her? I mean, she looks. I she looks like an uncunted version of J.K. Rowling.
and we get that one out pretty quickly. um, Speaking of which, just a quick tangent because I realized when I was editing the last video, um, y'all didn't hear this, so I'm just gonna share my screen real quick and play the clip for y'all. So what you didn't hear last time, when it was supposed to be, and excuse the amount of ads, I can't do anything about it. It's a free
Oh,
soundboard, so
it's a
whatever.
meal deal. The meal
Yeah,
deal at Meyer.
but so the clip that I was trying to play last time when we were talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene was this one.
Cut!
Y'all didn't hear it last time, so I wanted to make sure y'all heard what I was trying to do.
You need to get one that says horse face and then cunt.
I mean, honestly, look, as long as we still have Marjorie Taylor Greene, is Hulkamania still running wild?
Well, it's definitely not immortal.
Uh, yeah, so and I had some people pissed off about that one. 'Cause unfortunately, nobody got pissed about the Twitter post. Um, So
Is
what
anybody even
happened?
on? Is anybody even on Twitter anymore?
Mostly racists,
Oh, okay.
and racists and porn, basically.
Yeah.
um, but so obviously, if you're watching this, if you haven't lived under a rock, you know that Hulk Hogan is one of like four celebrities who died just in the last 7 days. Um, and the jokes on Hogan was going crazy, myself included. One of them, so they put up a post on Twitter, like, "Oh, what's your favorite version?" Because you have the '80s Hulkamania, then you have like the NWO, then yada yada yada. And my post was like, "I like the current one." And just to make sure there was no ambiguity about it, I put an emoji of a coffin.
Well, wasn't he in a coffin match?
Honestly, I don't know. One of the only ones that I know about that he dealt with the Undertaker was very early in Undertaker's career. He told a lie that Taker tombstoned him and gave him like a spinal injury. When you go back and watch the footage, his head never touched the fucking mat. So
Well, it's because I
he,
mean, you know, I don't know. Uh, I've heard some of the stuff that the Hulkster has said, and it's like, yeah, like Elvis was a big fan of his, shit like that. It's like, yeah, I don't even think you were wrestling when Elvis was actually even alive.
So one of the grossest things that he lied about, and I actually had to look this up specifically. Um, he told some story about how he was doing a Make a Wish thing. Which, first of all, he did do 200 Make a Wish, but then he also said in some podcast he did it strictly for the money. Now, I we live in a capitalist society. I kind of get it, but you're not supposed to fucking say that with your whole chest.
Yeah.
Um, But so he's telling a story about this kid that he got him front row tickets to SummerSlam in 1992 in Wembley Stadium. He was not wrestling for WWF in 1992. And not only that, but when he quote unquote met the kid, he could tell by the smell that the kid was going to be a goner, which I'm like, God damn. Like that's fucking gross to say about somebody, even in a fictional scenario.
All right. So we're going to use this as a segue since we normally do one of these things must go. We're going to do a reverse one. It's like one of these things must return. And we're going to do a WWF/E edition.
Oh, okay. I thought we were doing one based on just Ozzy, Malcolm. I thought we were doing it off of that, but okay.
We'll get on that too, but the WWE, the wrestling one just hit me. So one of these things has to return, regardless of how they, lost their lives or whatnot, or the villainy that was behind it. So
I already know where this is going, but continue.
Chris Benoit, Hulk Hogan, Davey Boy Smith, or Owen Hart.
Oh, god damn. See, if you'd have said Eddie Guerrero, that was pretty much going to be my answer,
Well,
probably.
that's why I left Eddie out.
So I'm going to give a caveat with my answer here. Now, if I were to say Chris Benoit, can I also reverse what happened the night that he died? Because it was by his own hand. So if I could get Benoit back and also make sure that night never happened, then I would do that because you also get two other people back. But if we're just looking at the wrestler by themselves, Owen Hart.
Yeah, no. See, I was gonna go with Owen Hart. I mean, yeah, same reason I'd bring Benoit back, with all the caveats and stuff like that. But if you're going just based off the wrestler, Owen Hart, hands down. I mean, you know, everybody, Benoit family, Benoit, even with Terry Boella, and it's tragic when somebody loses their lives and stuff like that in whatever manner. But based off the wrestling itself, I would go with Owen Hart as well.
if we were just talking about in-ring work, Chris Benoit was a favorite of mine, but it's one of those things I can't. Paul Heyman said it best because Paul Heyman, he's been in the industry for God, what, probably almost 40 years now, close to, gotta be.
About that, yeah.
And he's like, in the ring, bell to bell, Chris Benoit was one of the best he's ever seen perform. However, three people died that night, and only one person had a decision behind it.
Yeah,
So,
very sad.
but yeah, Owen Hart. I grew up a fan of the Hart family. Bret Hart was my first favorite. Bret Hart was the first guy that I cheered, even when he was still a heel. Because back then when you're a kid, you cheer and boo with the crowd. But I liked Bret Hart when he was a bad guy. I didn't give a fuck. And Owen was kind of an extension of that. And honestly, I think that had Owen not died, I think that Owen is one of the few he could have surpassed his brother. He was just as good as him, technically speaking, and he was better than him on the mic.
Yeah, I honestly feel that Owen was more athletic than Bret. Just in the even in the blue blazer get look at all the shit he did there.
You know what? I'm going to agree with you on that because the thing is, on a technical basis, actual wrestling, suplexes, submission holds, yada, 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 um, Owen and Bret were neck and neck. But what Owen could do that Bret couldn't was the more high flying type shit. He didn't do it all the time, but he could do it. Bret never did that. So yeah, I'll actually give the edge to Owen on that one. He could have been everything that Bret was and better.
Since we're speaking of wrestlers, I just caught the trailer for Peacemaker 2, second season.
I didn't know it was out.
Well, the trailer is. I
Well,
think
yeah.
the second season drops sometime in August, and
Okay.
it's going to be very interesting. They're bringing in Rick Flag Sr.
Hmm.
And apparently, we're going to see more of the DC, basically multiverse, take place.
So, okay, that actually answers my question because Peacemaker is one of the few projects that James Gunn is bringing from the quote unquote old universe into the new universe. And I never really understood how, but if the new season of Peacemaker is dealing with multiverse shit, okay, now it makes sense. Um, but oh, I didn't know that was Senior. So that's still Frank Grillo, right?
Yeah,
I fucking love Frank Grillo. He was great in the Marvel movies as Crossbones. Um, I
I
liked him
wish
in
they
the
did.
second
I wish they
Carnage
did. I wish they did more with him as Crossbones. I mean,
movie.
to me that was like it was a lost casting. I mean, they got somebody perfect for it and did nothing with it.
Yeah, no, I'll agree with you about that and it was also kind of weird how in Civil War he was literally committing suicide, but he was doing it on purpose and trying to take Cap with him. And I don't think Crossbones would have done that.
No, but yeah, it was waste with at least Crossbones storyline. So
Yeah. Um, I mean,
do better, Marvel.
the best thing we got out of his run as Crossbones, even though he was not officially Crossbones yet, was the elevator scene. That was a phenomenal fucking scene.
Oh yeah, that's America's ass.
uh, it's wild to me because that's still Marvel, one of, if not the best Marvel movie to date. Um, and you know what? Speaking of which, I'm just gonna fuck it. We're just gonna go ahead and tangent this real quick. We can come back to the one of those has to return if you want to, but it's so one of the things that I read about recently is that Marvel essentially is planning to do a universe reset after I believe it's Secret Wars. To
Yeah, they're gonna
which,
do it with X-Men.
yeah. So yeah, they're bringing in X-Men. Apparently, this Fantastic Four team is coming into the main universe, which I still don't like that because much as I love Pedro Pascal, he's already in his 50s, and how many movies can he really give us? Um, but I'm like, aren't y'all just doing what CW already fucking did?
Look,
And
everybody rips off the CW for some reason.
I mean, the CW shows, Flash, Supergirl, Arrow, they definitely had their ups and downs. Legends of Tomorrow had more downs than most, but their crossovers, Crisis on Earth X and then Crisis on Infinite Earths, was fucking amazing. I loved those crossovers. Um, and yeah, that's basically what they did. For those of y'all who haven't watched or don't remember, Supergirl was on a different Earth. Black Lightning was on a different Earth. Um, and yeah, the legends were just out there doing what the fuck ever. But at the end of Infinite Earths, it's all been consolidated into a single universe. And it sounds like that's exactly what Marvel is doing, which does make sense, especially for the X-Men, because fans have been saying for like 10 years now, rightfully so, if you're going to bring in the X-Men, then it's going to beg the question, where have y'all been this entire time? And it's a valid question. So consolidating the universes is the easiest way to dodge that criticism.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like with the new Captain America. I love the fact that they finally address that there is a giant hand and head sticking up out of the Indian Ocean. You know.
And I love that this is where they get the adamantium from.
Oh yeah.
But does it even matter now with how they're going to bring in the X-Men? Like, I don't know if it even matters anymore.
Well, I would think for certain characters, it's definitely gonna create some backstory issues. But I mean, that's
Yeah.
what Disney and Marvel does is they just rewrite them anyway. I mean, you know, newsflash, Loki is actually not Thor's brother. And yes, he is an ice giant runt that was adopted by
Honestly,
Odin in the Marvel universe. But in actual Norse paganism, Loki and Thor are not related at all.
honestly, what I know about the Norse pantheon and everything, the Netflix, I guess you can call it an anime, Twilight of the Gods. What I know about the Norse pantheon, Twilight of the Gods was actually pretty accurate. And it shows how Loki got fucking pregnant from a horse. It shows how Jormungandr is Loki's child. It shows all of that. So, and it even
Yeah.
explains why for those of y'all who don't know about this, so like Laufey in the MCU, that was the king in Jotunheim. But apparently in Norse mythology, I didn't know this. Laufey is a woman. That's actually one thing that God of War got right. So initially it was a little weird because it is Loki, Laufey's son. Now, normally, for those of y'all who don't know this, the woman will pick the mother and so and so's daughter, and the son, like Thor Odin's son. But so it was weird that it was Loki Laufey's son, but apparently he does that, and you can correct me if the mythology says differently, but at least in Twilight of the Gods, it's because Loki basically doesn't claim his dad. His dad was a shitty fucking person, allegedly.
Well, yeah, I mean the thing is like, your last name is based off your father's uh first name. Um,
Right.
so it's like, like when you have like Leif Erikson, it's Leif, son of Eric, basically.
Yeah.
Just like you have Freydis Eriksdotter, meaning daughter of Eric. You know.
Yeah. And I mean, hell, just like for a more pop culture reference, y'all might remember when Thor was calling him son of Cole, because in Thor's culture, that's where that name would have came from.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess if you traced his bloodline back a couple thousand years, that probably is what it was. But that's whatever.
So you had touched on the new Fantastic Four, which actually just dropped this past Friday. Have not gone to see it yet. And you mentioned Pedro Pascal, which absolutely love. Um, I think it's a bit of fan service in his casting. I mean, because Pedro is everywhere, and yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a great Reed Richards. I still love John Krasinski's cameo, in Multiverse of Madness, but yeah, I'm looking forward to see how Pedro Pascal handles the role and how Marvel and Disney adapted that script into the MCU. I mean, kind of threw me off when I seen the trailers because it's very retro. but I
And
get it
I
at the
hate
same
these
time.
suits. I
Oh,
hate these
this
suits too.
the powder blue and white is just you look like the pit pant or the Nittany Lions from Pennsylvania. So
No, actually, what you just oh, it almost sounded like you were about to say it, and I'm just gonna say it because it's fucking hilarious. It's like we already have the Black Panther. Y'all look like the Powder Panther. But
yeah,
actually, real quick, I don't know if I've shown this before, but so one of this mobile game that I play, Marvel Future Fight, they introduced the Fantastic Four years before like even Multiverse of Madness. But I like so the way that they did Reed Richards, honestly, John Krasinski looks just fucking like him. So this is the way that he dropped in the game. This was his original skin. So with the beard and everything. So when they started fan casting it for with John Krasinski, I'm like, oh no, this is fucking perfect. Like I love that look. But yeah, now these suits, I absolutely hate it. I get that it's 50s and also futuristic at the same time, so the outfits are going to be a little bit dated, but I still hate it nonetheless.
it's like the fucking Marvel meets the Jetsons.
Yeah, actually it is. Hell, it even has a fucking robot chef.
As long as it doesn't
Yeah.
go Danger Will Robinson.
But yeah, I am gonna watch it. I might watch it sooner than later because so when we saw the trailers for Superman and Fantastic Four, I asked my son if he had any interest in either of those, and he said he had a little bit more interest in Fantastic Four. Um, I had no plans to watch Superman, but the fan reactions are kind of making me reconsider, if I'm honest.
Yeah, well, I've heard talk that you know you don't get the origin story, which I'm happy with. I'm tired of fucking origin stories. I really am.
Yeah.
I mean, as good as Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy was, I don't need another fucking origin story after that. I mean, I fucking know what happened. Everybody knows what fucking happened. Same with
Um,
Superman.
so the three origin stories that I think we don't really need to see ever again, or at the very least, give me about 20 to 30 years, is so there's Superman, there's Batman, and then there's Spider-Man. I don't think that we need to watch that origin ever again. And I actually appreciated that about when they brought in Tom Holland. Like, he's already been bit. Uncle Ben is already dead. And I'm like, you know what? I'm cool with this.
Yeah, no. So origin stories gone. Not unless you're a new movie, new franchise.
Yeah. Now, like, with this one, I know they're bringing in Hawkgirl. They brought in, like, Mr. Terrific. If you want to give a little bit of backstory to them, that's fine. They're not very well-known characters. That makes sense. Um, I am still curious how they're going to do Doctor Doom, though, with Downey. So,
So there's a theory going on because if you look at the timeline of Endgame, the pregnancy of Tony's mother doesn't align with his birth. So there's other speculations about, you know, whether Tony was an adopted son that came from a different universe and put in there by and I can't remember who put him in there. But basically through the Soul Stone and stuff like that, put him in the body of this kid who was basically in a coma and whatnot. Came back and Howard Stark, basically decided to adopt him. That became Tony Stark. Then there's theories that Doctor Doom is actually Nathaniel Richards. So, I mean, there's all sorts of theories out there. There's gonna be really no way of knowing until you watch all the fucking movies that come out. So, but
the
I mean,
theory
they're fun to entertain.
the theory that I'm still rolling with at the moment, until proven otherwise, is that this is Anthony Stark. Which, for those of y'all who've not heard of that one, it's a different universe where he goes by Anthony rather than Tony, and the real Doctor Doom basically switches consciousness with him. So, for all intents, it is Doctor Doom in there, but it's biologically DNA. It is Anthony Stark. It's just Doom is actually controlling him. Now, does that mean that the quote real Doctor Doom is still out there? Possibly, but it's what makes the most sense to me for them to bring Downey back. But we'll see. We may not
Yeah,
ever actually see Doom's face, and then it doesn't fucking matter.
that's true. I've also heard talk that there is going to be the Tom Cruise Iron Man. John Krasinski is going to come back as Reed Richards. Uh, and so,
Toby's
I mean,
confirmed.
yes, Toby is
Toby Maguire.
confirmed. So, yeah, it's going to be rather interesting on how they're going to pull this off.
Yeah. And actually, the fact that Toby Maguire was confirmed, it actually goes back to what me and you said a while back when they first did the cast reveal. We were saying then, I don't think this is everyone. That was a huge fucking cast.
Yeah.
And the fact that Toby Maguire was not in that, but he has been confirmed since, just corroborates that theory that they didn't give us everything.
Hey, I just
Um,
want to know where the hell's my Miles Morales?
there was a deleted scene. I don't know if I've talked about this or not. There was a deleted scene in No Way Home where when Peter is moving into his apartment at the end of the movie, you hear a family in the hallway speaking Spanish. And that was supposed to be Miles.
Ah, I mean, that would be sweet, but I still want to see Miles Morales on the big screen. Miles, as much as I like Peter Parker slash Spider-Man, I love Miles Morales slash Spider-Man, particularly in the animated Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, oh, the second one blew me away even more than the first one.
Those movies were so much better than they had any right to be. Like I went into these movies, it's an animated movie, it's a Spider-Man movie. Like this will probably be interesting, but like I did not expect to love these movies. Um, and one of my favorite moments is from the second one where he's talking to his dad, but he's in costume, and his dad is just kind of venting about Miles. He's like, maybe you should get off the kid's ass. But part of what I love about it is that the actor didn't finish the word. Like he did what you would expect him. Like he caught himself like, oh shit, I'm talking to my dad. But the subtitles still said the whole word, ass. So I thought that was hilarious. Um,
Yes.
and and they actually have a great cast. You have Haley Steinfeld as Gwen. You had uh, Oscar Isaac as Miguel, 2099 Spider-Man. You had Issa Rae as Spider-Woman, the pregnant one. Like they had a phenomenal voice cast for that movie.
Oh yeah.
Which also, by the way, I'm not acknowledging Haley Steinfeld's marriage. I'm still calling her Steinfeld because I will wreck that marriage and still not lose a wink of fucking sleep. And let me just say, Sinners, when I saw Sinners, it did not help at all. Made it quite a bit worse, in fact.
No, I absolutely love Haley Steinfeld. I'm looking forward to her coming back as Kate Bishop. I really am.
And I know she's coming back too. We have talked about this before. I need more scenes of Kate and Yelena. I fucking need that.
I
To
mean,
they,
it's going to be interesting how they get Thunderbolts mixed into all this with the Secret Wars.
yeah, it's yeah, because honestly, it works. What's her name? She branded them the new Avengers basically to bail her ass out of the fire. But actually, when you look at these people, um, Sentry is the only one who's actually like not just a fucking power. Sentry's the only one who's not just a regular ass human. All of them, like Red Guardian, is supposed to be a super soldier, even though that never happens in the movies. We have Bucky, we have Yelena. Well, okay, no Ghost, because Ghost can phase. But
Right.
other than that, these are just really they're super soldiers. That's all they are. Which Steve was a hell of a super soldier, but Steve would get his ass whooped in a one-on-one with Thor.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, we're talking Steve with Mjolnir or Steve without Mjolnir.
If Steve gets Mjolnir, then that's going to level the playing field a little bit. But no, just regular Steve with just his shield. He deflected a blow from Mjolnir, but he deflected one hit. In a long drawn out fight, he would get his ass whooped. He'd put up a good fight, but he would get his ass whooped.
Well, I mean, you got a god going up against, a metahuman.
Um, but yeah, it's funny because I know I was mentioning that with in Civil War. Um, I'm like, this is how this is how strong Spider-Man actually was, is that Cap fought him for like 2, 3 minutes and understood, like, all right, he's strong enough. I can drop a building on him. He'll be fine. And that's
But yeah,
exactly what he did. That's how he occupied him.
so we had a lot of new stuff come out. We just had season 3 of Strange New Worlds drop a couple weeks ago. Just watched episode 3 the other night as it dropped, and let's just say zombies and Klingons.
Really.
Yeah, zombies and Klingons in the same fucking episode. Thank you, Star Trek.
You know what? Um, one book I actually would recommend, and it actually is canon, by the way. There's a story. This is in the Star Wars universe. Palpatine actually he approved some bio experimentation, and there's a whole ship that zombified the entire fucking crew, stormtroopers and all. It's literally called Death Troopers. I read it like 10 plus years ago. Great fucking book. It's one of the few Star Wars stories that I really, really enjoyed that has no Jedi and Sith in it, which I would actually recommend it. So you mentioning the zombies with Strange New Worlds is what made me think of it. Um,
So
that would be
there's
fucking scary.
two things. Congratulations to the cast and crew of Andor. 14 Emmy nominations for season 2. So excellent on
Holy
them.
shit.
Yes, 14 Emmy nominations. And we're going to go back to Star Trek since you mentioned something canon in Star Wars. We now have something that was a fan theory that has now been made canon in Star Trek. Episode 2, Strange New Worlds. If you remember from the original series from back in the 60s, there was a character, I believe, in the second season, maybe the third. His name was Trelane. And he had these godlike powers and whatnot. And it was speculated by the fans that Trelane was a Q. Guess what? Episode 2, Strange New Worlds, canonizes it. And how they do it is they bring back the original Q, John Delancey, probably one of my favorite voice actors and actors of all time, next to Alan Tudyk. They canonized Trelane as a member of the Q Continuum.
Hold on, let me ask you about that real quick, since they brought Q back into the picture. Um, how do they explain Q's age? Because like the obviously the actor's aged since then. So how, do they even address it?
Well, the thing is, now, and you can actually take part of this in season 2 of Picard as well. So when Q actually shows himself to Picard in season 2, I can't remember. I think it's the very first episode of season 2. He comes back in that they do the age alteration digitally and stuff like that, and he's like, "Oh, Mon Capitan." He's like, "We did not age so gracefully," and he snaps his fingers and Q ages to mimic Picard's age. Um, so going back to Strange New Worlds, they didn't bring John Delancey in as an actual physical representation. They just gave like this glowing ball of light, and out from this glowing ball of light comes John Delancey's voice with the reverb on it, and
So what they Zord
everything.
on him?
Yeah, basically. No face. It was just him talking, and you have Reese Davies, who actually plays Trelane, who is a phenomenal actor as well. If you haven't seen him in Our Flags Mean Death, you got to watch it. It's actually got Taika Waititi in it as well. But so Reese Davies does a phenomenal job of actually capturing and actually looks the part of Trelane from the original series. And turns out, he's like, and their questions are coming in. He's like, "Oh, he's just a young Q." And he's like, how old is he? He's like, he's 8,000 years old. He's like, I'm 8,020.
I kind of love it because honestly, like when you look back at how Q interacts with Picard and everything, like in Next Gen, honestly, he's like a space Loki, basically.
He is.
Like,
But I mean, yeah, out of the entire Star Trek universe, Q, ever since he showed up in, Encounter at Farpoint, the very first episode of the Next Generation, its pilot episode. I absolutely love the character, the concept, everything, and whatnot. And it's like, if I was going to be anything in the Star Trek universe, I'd be a member of the Continuum. Not intelligent enough, but that's what I would choose.
and I still remember it was cringe, but it was intentionally cringe. One of the most cringe things I ever saw with Q is him trying to fuck Janeway.
I mean, at that time, Kate Mulgrew,
Not faulting him.
I probably still would,
But the way that he was pursuing her, like I remember there's one dude, was it Chakotay, the one who had the face tattoo?
Yep.
Okay, I thought I was getting the
Richard
name.
Beltran, yeah.
Yeah. There's one part he's like, "Oh, is it the face tattoo? Because I got a lot of them," and then he just has a fucking face full of ink. It was like, calm the fuck down.
Yeah. Well, what was great about the uh, Prodigy, the animated Star Trek, uh, the other animated, not to be confused with Lower Decks, but Prodigy, which was actually a Nickelodeon show made in conjunction with Paramount with Star Trek,
Oh yeah,
is they actually gave Chakotay's storyline closure.
really? Okay.
Yeah, so and it's actually a really good show. I mean, it's a kids show, and it's kind of like Phineas and Ferb by Dan Povenmire. Um, it's a kids show, but it shouldn't be that good for adults to be that entertained. It was like, Prodigy was actually phenomenal, and I only say that because Dan Povenmire is another one of my favorites. Dr. Doofenshmirtz and everything else. I mean, I love Phineas and Ferb. My kids used to watch it, and when they went to bed, I continue watching it.
That's kind of how I was with Fairly Odd Parents. But like, no, with Phineas and Ferb, like I know they actually just renewed for seasons 4 and 5 or 5 and 6, something like that.
Yeah, and they
Um,
just released season 2.
one thing I didn't realize that they had such little content for how popular they are. But
Well, I say this is they've had like 3 seasons total of Phineas Ferb, but that was all 3 of those seasons only combined for one summer vacation.
well, and here's what I was going to say about that is that in the series finale when they end the show, because if any of y'all who don't know this, literally the theme song is there's 104 days of summer vacation, school comes along to end it. Every single episode is just what are we doing today? The series finale, in my opinion, should be them building a time machine and going back to the beginning of summer.
No,
But you,
I can get down with that.
but actually, you mentioning a kid show that actually is like surprisingly entertaining for adults. I only just found out recently that Gumball was supposed to be an Adult Swim show.
Oh my god.
It makes perfect sense, actually. Because there's so many just adult jokes in it. And when I say adult jokes, for those of y'all watching, I don't mean vulgar. Some of them are, but I just mean they're intelligent jokes that a kid is not going to understand. One of my favorite clips, he's doing the fucking social justice warrior, but he's like doing overkill, and they plug him up like Neo in the Matrix, and he comes out and says, "I know tongue fu," and
Speak. Go ahead.
go. Oh, I was
Well, I
just
was
gonna
gonna
say
say,
the way the rest of the scene went, but no, go ahead.
so speaking of cartoons with adult themes, we just learned about Stephen Colbert and the cancellation of The Late Show from Paramount. And this is the brilliance of Trey Parker and I can't remember his partner's name, but the
Matt
creators of
Stone.
South Park, Matt Stone. So the brilliance, they learned of it and rewrote an episode to drop of the season premiere just a couple days after the fact that showcased a particular Velveeta Valmont or Velveeta Voldemort, and just went to town with it, and they kept it hush hush, as in like, go ahead, try and fucking cancel us because we bring you in $1.5 billion. If you have not seen the episode, at least try to find the clips before the Mango Mussolini puts in some kind of executive order to take the shit down.
Okay.
It's just fucking hilarious. And we joke about penis sizes all the time, and I think they got this one accurate.
Oh, so first off, let me acknowledge, yes, it was a recycle of the Satan and Saddam shtick that they did back in the day. Yes, it was even the same voice that they used for Saddam, but they put a modernized spin on it with using this orange bitch, and God, it was so fucking like he pulls the fucking covers down. Gah! I can't even see it. It's so small. Like Jesus Christ. Oh, like why is my shit so small? It's that size in the photograph. I'm gonna sue you. Like, like yeah, this is how he acts. Um, and now we've got him just crashing out all over the fucking place about fucking Epstein. Like he is
Yeah.
doing everything in his power to look over there. Um, Now he's trying to say that Obama, fabricated the whole Russia thing, which they asked Gabbard, Tulsi Gabbard, what new information is she releasing? And she could not answer the question for shit. Like, and also, what happened to immunity? I'm sorry, didn't you start this shit, my guy?
Yeah. My thing is, regardless of who's on this list, because there is a list, because that was one of the first things he said he was going to do was release that fucking list. Because he was so certain his name wasn't fucking on it. Now there's no list. Regardless of who's on it. I don't give a shit if it's Barack Obama. I don't give a shit if it's Bill Clinton. I don't give two flying fucks who's on it. Lock them the fuck up.
Yeah, like, and it's really weird how the defense that I'm seeing now is like, oh, if Trump was on it, won't don't you think they would have released it? Number one, they couldn't. There was an active investigation with Maxwell. Number two, if he's not on it, why won't he?
Yeah. It's like the same reason I don't let people see my browser history.
That is, uh, but yeah, it's almost hilarious the way that he's trying so hard to pivot and change the conversation. And every time I'm like, look, I'm a gamer. I love a good side quest. This is a side quest. If you wanna charge Obama with some kind of espionage or whatever, for Russia and it's a hoax or whatever, I don't give two fiddly fucks. But that's side quest. Like let's
No,
get to the
it's a major catastrophe.
yeah. Speaking of, so I know that we don't have an official one, but this was actually a question I thought of a couple of weeks ago, and I thought this was kind of interesting. Now, normally I would give a disclaimer and say you can't pick this, you can't pick that, but I'm springing this question on you out of the blue, so I'll give you a mulligan here. But tell me a dialogue, a bit of villain dialogue where they were right.
Oh, Thanos. I
And
mean,
normally that's
it's one of those things. It's like, yeah, could he have easily doubled the resources? Yes. But it wasn't about the resources because you double the resources. Uh, and let's just use humans. Uh, as the example. Humans, the resources are doubled. Well, guess what? Humans are greedy. Humans want what they want. So not only would they squander the double of the resources, they would up the prices on them. And when people realize that they have double the resources, then we're going to see double the population again, more than likely. I mean, I do know that the current birth rate for the United States is down quite a bit in recent years. Double the resources, nobody's going to give a shit because now they have it
Yeah.
until capitalism comes along and doubles the price.
And that's what I was going to say. The easy answer is, of course, there's that with Thanos, and of course, there's the Joker. Um, you know, if I say tomorrow that a boatload of soldiers is going to die, nobody panics. But if I say a mayor is going to die, everyone loses their minds. He was right. But the ones that I actually have three. And so there was one. This clip has been getting circulated online recently, at least that I've seen. Um, Ultron was such a wasted villain in the MCU, but some of the jabs that he made were very fucking hard. And one of them, you want to protect the world, but you don't want it to change. How is humanity saved if it's not allowed to evolve? And he's fucking right.
Yeah.
Every movie, every single movie, superhero or otherwise, the villain is ultimately trying to change the world, and it is the heroes who is stopping it changing, for better or worse. That is what happens every single time. Um, the one I liked, this is one that I actually really forgot about, was Green Goblin in the very first Spider-Man. So the one thing that they love more than a hero is to see a hero fall, fail, die trying. In spite of everything you've done for them, eventually they will hate you. And like, first off, that was kind of prophetic for Peter because being hated is just kind of what happens to Spider-Man. But like, god damn, that was a deep bit of dialogue. My favorite one, though, and I mention this a lot, Agent Smith was right when he says, when he tries to classify humanity. He said, "You're not actually mammals. Every mammal on this planet develops an equilibrium with their environment. Humans don't. You consume. And you consume until every natural resource is destroyed. You have to move on. The other organism that follows that pattern is a virus." God damn it if he wasn't right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
No. The first time I heard Hugo Weaving as Agent Smith deliver that line, I'm like, holy fuck, he's right.
yeah. Um, and honestly, I love Hugo Weaving in that role. It's a shame that they didn't bring him back when they did the fourth one, Resurrection. Resurrection was not a great movie. It was okay. There were things I didn't like about it.
There are things I liked about it, and there are things I didn't like about it. I I wish Lana Wachowski could have gone slightly different route with some of the narrative. Um, but all in all, it wasn't bad, but I don't think it was as good as it could have been. And from my understanding, Hugo Weaving didn't return due to his epilepsy.
I have heard like he's backed away from a lot of roles because of health reasons. But so the guy that they cast, though, I don't remember the actor's name, but he was in the Netflix show Mindhunter, which
Okay.
for those of y'all who haven't watched it, I recommend it. It's a great fucking show. Basically, and it's based on true events. Um, Two FBI guys, the younger one, and he's the one who plays Agent Smith. He basically pioneers the idea of criminal psychology. He's the first one who starts asking, why did they kill all these people? Why did they, do this, then this, and this? And of course, his partner, older seasoned dude, he's like, I don't give a fuck. They're criminals and we lock them up. That's our job. He didn't care about the why, but the younger guy was trying to understand that. That younger guy, I'm like, he could have been so fucking good mimicking Hugo Weaving's Agent Smith, and he didn't. They changed his personality. That's really the one thing that I wish they hadn't changed. Um, I even can forgive Morpheus because Yahya Abdul Mateen. I think he was because I confuse Yahya Abdul Mateen a lot with some other actor. I forget. But anyway, I'm getting off topic here. But his personality wasn't accurate to Morpheus, but that was Morpheus combined with like another program. So the personality differences were forgivable. So I was okay with that. But Agent Smith was a program from jump. His personality did not have to change. Um,
I
one
mean,
thing I was
they could have easily brought in Russ Marquand.
they
I
could
mean,
have.
because we already know Russ Marquand can duplicate the voice, and it probably would have just taken some makeup to duplicate the look.
Yeah. Hell, he's already replaced Hugo Weaving once. And honestly, if I didn't know that that was him in Infinity War and Endgame, I wouldn't have figured it out. Because goddamn, did he do it? He did Hugo Weaving fucking accurately. Um, which if y'all have never seen it, and you know what? I'll drop a link in the description to this. There's videos going around of Ross Marquand. Those of y'all who don't know, he was on The Walking Dead. He's the guy who lost his hand. What was his name? I don't remember.
Shit, I don't remember. It's been a while.
But he does impressions of other celebrities, and they are just 10 out of 10 fucking perfect impressions. Um, Liam Neeson's one of my favorite ones that he does.
Mine happens to be Matthew McConaughey ordering chicken. Oh, let's see. He has so many choices. Should I go with the all white, all white, all white?
Yeah. Yeah, Ross Marquand is a phenomenal impressionist. I would have been okay if they'd have brought him back. And again, I mean, it's the Matrix already established with the Oracle that you can quote unquote change their face or their skin, but it's still the same person. They already did it with the Oracle. So it's not a big deal. They could have done it with Agent Smith. Real quick, while we're on that subject, I'd like how they brought back the Merovingian. Have you heard any of the theories about what the Merovingian actually is?
I have not.
So there's a YouTube channel. It's called Matrix Explained. Some of it is they do deep dives and show you Easter eggs. Some of it they delve into fan theories. Now, one of the Easter eggs, you don't find out until the second Matrix Revolutions that Neo is the fifth iteration.
Right.
The child at the Oracle's apartment, the one bending the spoons, when Neo first approaches him, there are four mangled spoons on the floor in front of him already. The one that he picks up when Neo bends his head, that is the fifth spoon. So those
Huh.
are the kind of Easter eggs that they like to delve into. Now the Merovingian, um, so they've already established the first Matrix was supposed to be a perfect world. There's actually a fan theory that Seraph, the guy who was the Oracle's guardian, was an angel in the first Matrix. An angel. He was an agent, but he looked like an angel, and that's actually why they called him Wingless in one of the scenes.
Okay.
So after the first Paradise Matrix crashes, they do a hard swing, and now it's basically a hellish matrix. And this is the fan theory where the Merovingian comes from. You notice his color scheme, he always wears a lot of red and black. Honestly, he looks like a vampire without the fangs. So they think the second Matrix may have had all of the supernatural creatures, the vampires, the werewolves, the ghosts, etc. And honestly, it's a fan theory. I don't know that it's ever been confirmed. Probably not. But it makes perfect sense. And the Merovingian did tell Neo, I have survived your predecessors and I will survive you. So he's been around at least a couple versions of the
Yeah.
Matrix.
Interesting.
I'll drop that in the description too. I haven't watched them in a while. Sometimes they just talk about news, like they were talking about the newest Matrix. Apparently, there's a fifth one that they're supposed to be working on. They'll talk news, but sometimes they'll do an interesting deep dive and just, hey, what about this? It's really interesting.
Yeah. And before we close, just want to bring this up. We are coming down to the wire with the last 4 episodes of Valmont, the Black Raven Chronicles, going to be coming out on all your streaming services where you get your podcasts and your audiobooks. Now, we are gearing up to start auditioning for season 2 of Valmont. So, if you happen to actually have an interest in voice acting or want to see how you can get involved, you can email us here at menbehindcurtain@gmail.com or drop a comment in, down below, and
Yeah, and
see if we can get you hooked up with, the voice director and the author.
and speaking of which, I'll just do a quick plug. I actually just read his book, Redcoats. I talked about this on my TikTok, but so basically, Redcoats, he does use a lot of like actual Georgetown, South Carolina lore and ghost stories and stuff like that. I actually found it enjoyable. Basically, there are these old British soldiers that died in a fire back in the Revolutionary War. These kids are playing with a fucking Ouija board. I don't need to tell you what they are. You already know. Um, but they're playing with a Ouija board and basically wake the ghosts up. And now the ghosts are basically going after all of the teenagers, Final Destination style. Um, Honestly, it's a short book. It's like 200, less than 300 pages. So it's not. It doesn't take much to go through. If you guys want to check it out, you can find it on. You know what? I'll drop that link here below too. Um, it was like $10 on Amazon. Um, it is self-published, so there are some typos and stuff like that. I'm just acknowledging that they're there, but it's not egregious. And I might, I might actually get to narrate that book as an audiobook.
Nice.
So he's talking about trying to get an audiobook for a couple of his. Now, his other one, Through the Flames, I haven't read that one, so I haven't even asked about it. But hey, y'all can check that one out too, and maybe somebody else can do that one. 'Cause I'm not trying to monopolize it.
All right, we're
But
out of time for this week, and thanks for tuning in to Men Behind the Curtain. We will see you next Wednesday.
yep, as always, feel free to check out our other socials, especially on Facebook. Hopefully, we can try to go live here sooner than later. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Y'all take care and have a good week.
All right, be you.